Every day, over 17,000 crimes are committed in the UK.
The demand was for £5 million.
They were getting deeper and deeper into this guy's trap.
Up against brick walls and denials.
There were no leads, no evidence.
This was going to be a mountain to climb.
What does it take to catch the criminals?
I knew that I had to be relentless to build my case.
An eye for detail.
There you can see the unique number.
And true determination.
I wanted to fight for her to get the justice that she deserved.
It's the uncovering of this one clue.
I have a really good, clear picture of the cat.
That finally solves the mystery.
It's just fantastic. Everything has come together for you, and that was the moment of proof.
Putting the criminals that affect the lives of innocent Britons behind bars.
We will find you. We will prosecute you.
Today, a scribbled name in a discarded notebook is the key to putting a dangerous driver behind bars.
The 11th hour, this golden moment comes where I get this phone call off this officer. I found it. I found the guy's details.
But first, how the serial numbers on stolen banknotes cracked the mystery of a dangerous gang wreaking havoc in the capital.
There you can see £20,000 cash with a unique number on the top of there. That was the moment that I knew we got him.
Detective Superintendent Jason Hendy works for the Flying Squad, a special police branch targeting armed robberies. This would stand out as his toughest case.
At that time in East London, we'd have anything between 5, sometimes up to 10 cash-in-transit robberies a day.
Jason's on call, and the job's just come in. A van's been robbed while delivering money to a riding school. On first appearances, it looks like another run-of-the-mill call-out.
It's quite open, but a very quiet car park, and especially at that time of night, on a winter's day, not a lot of people, not a lot of witnesses. I could see the Securical van, and you could see the 2 guards were standing by the vehicle.
Jason starts to interview one of the guards.
Introduced himself as a guy called Leslie Shepherd. And then he walked off, and he was pacing up and down. He looked in shock, but at the same time, his behaviour was really strange. This wasn't what I normally saw.
Eventually coming to a standstill, Leslie Shepherd tells Jason what happened.
He said, whilst he's in the back of the van, he hears a bang on the door. And he could see his colleague with a firearm pointing to his head. And the robber is shouting, "Throw out the money, or I'll kill him." Les says that he fears for the life of this guard and obviously gives the robber money. And Les sees both of the males disappearing.
But then Jason discovers the true extent of the robbery.
There's about £450,000 being thrown out the back of this van. That's a lot of money. I've gone to a lot of robberies, 25, 50 grand, 75 grand. I would expect the maximum really that a robber would get. There was just something not right in the back of my head, saying this is not legit. There's something gone on here.
The unusually large amount of money is a red flag for Jason. He needs to quickly piece together what happened, starting with the location of the crime.
As you can see, no CCTV cameras, and the van was parked about 200 metres from the entrance to the stable. Why is he parked 200 metres away where he could park straight outside? To me, that tells me that something wasn't quite right.
Next, Jason examines the vehicle for any clues.
There could have been some DNA, some forensics. Unfortunately, there was nothing on the back of the van. I've got nothing at this crime scene. It's really frustrating.
Jason draws a blank. So he turns his attention to the security guard, Les Shepherd, whose behavior was so erratic.
Les Shepherd was known to the police. He was known for dishonesty. So I again started to ask myself, how is a guard who's got previous convictions for dishonesty working for a company where he's moving large sums of cash around?
Further digging exposes another shocking revelation.
I was told he was also a victim of another robbery. Les Shepherd was a security guard for another company, and whilst the guard was delivering the money into the cash and carry, there was a bang on the side of the door. I thought, this is sounding familiar. £750,000 was taken from that van. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lightning doesn't strike twice. This was a setup.
All the intelligence is pointing to the fact that Les is involved in robbing the riding stable van. Jason decides to act.
So I decided we needed to put directed surveillance on Les Shepherd the next morning. Let's see if we can make our own luck. Where's he going to take me? Is he going to take me to that money?
Jason's pinning his hopes on Les leading him to bigger things, the cash or other robbers involved in the crime.
Les took us to Southend-on-Sea. And all day, he was sitting on the bench looking out at the sea. He was going to the ice cream shop and buying ice cream. He wasn't acting as a victim of a robbery. It was quite obvious that he was laughing at us. If Les would have stayed at home that day and done what a normal person would have done and just stayed indoors, maybe I wouldn't have been so interested. By him bringing us to Southend and quite clearly showing he's aware of covert police methods, I know now I'm on the right person. I know that he is involved in this crime. I've just got to prove it and bring him to justice.
Les is toying with Jason, but it's making him more suspicious. He needs to find out who Les is working with.
So we start doing some more digging into Les to find out who he's associated with, and then that turns up some really interesting people. So it introduces us to a guy called Ricky Watts and a guy called Sean Doherty, who are known for placing sleeper agents into security companies where millions of pounds have been stolen by non-legitimate guards pretending that they've been robbed. So I'm thinking Les is now in with that organised crime group that have been operating for a number of years and they've never been caught. So now I am excited. I'm thinking my chance to get him.
All of Jason's instincts were right about Les. It's crucial he's interviewed. But for weeks, he ignores the detective's attempts to contact him. So Jason pays him a house call.
We sat down at his kitchen table and we played the cops and robbers game where he knew I didn't believe a word he said, but we sort of acted this conversation through. As the conversation went, and I sort of said to him, so how are you feeling, Les? And he said, well, didn't you enjoy the day down at Southend? He said, I knew you had a surveillance team on me, so I thought I'd take you to the beach for the day. I couldn't quite believe what I'm hearing. He's actually calling me out, knowing that I think that he's the robber. And then he sort of said to me, I know you think it's me, but you have to prove it. Whilst I'm still trying to take all this in, he then starts talking about I'll never catch him because he's got a lucky pair of pants. He's basically told me, yeah, I did it, but you ain't ever gonna prove it.
Les is goading him on. Jason is now 100% convinced he's behind the riding stable's robbery. Jason knows £450,000 is missing, and that the security guard and an organized gang are involved. But how can the detective prove it in this high-stakes game of cops and robbers? In our next case, a missing name on a notepad is the final clue to convict a dangerous driver. Sergeant Phil Robson's got 26 years of road policing under his belt. And all that experience is needed to solve a serious crime. There's been a fatal accident. A car traveling at 100 miles an hour has crashed into the safety barrier. And tragically, a young man has been thrown out the back of the vehicle and has died.
That's the M56 over there, and this is junction 3A slip road. Over there we can see the Armco barriers, which the BMW has actually mounted, and it's still carrying a lot of speed. So as it comes down some 100 yards plus of barrier, it hits the bridge parapet here.
3 friends were in the car. A 16-year-old girl who sat in the front, Amar Singh, and a young lad in his 20s.
At this point, Amar Singh has already dragged the deceased person across onto the side of the road here.
A passing truck driver is the first witness to the scene.
So this truck driver's exited, and he's obviously seen the accident here.
Shortly afterwards, a local patrol officer arrives.
He's not normally dealing with road traffic accidents, and certainly not on motorways. He must be feeling the pressure, because this is a serious accident.
The patrol officer does his best to fill in before the official road police team arrive.
At that point, he speaks to the truck driver, he speaks to Amar Singh, the girl, gets some basic details. He actually takes the details of that truck driver and writes them down on this piece of paper. We don't know what's caused the accident. Yes, we've got a young female witness who can actually put Mr. Singh in the driver's seat, but Amar Singh is already denying that he's been the driver of this car.
Amar Singh continues to deny he was behind the wheel at the time of the accident. He claims the driver was his friend who died in the crash. But police don't believe him, and he's arrested for dangerous driving. The case goes to court, but police are unable to track down the 2 key witnesses, vital to securing a conviction.
The girl in all this, at the time of the accident, she was 16. She'd been in care. She went missing. The other thing we have a problem is the truck driver. We can't find his piece of paper. And consequently, we can't find the truck driver.
The jury can't agree on a verdict, so a retrial was set for 6 months' time.
So I got called into our superintendent's office and dropped this file. There you go, reinvestigate this. I want a conviction at court.
Phil knows there were 3 people in the car, and a young man was killed because of dangerous driving. He suspects Amar Singh was the driver. But before the case goes back to court, he's got to prove the truth for the victim's family.
This is the scene where somebody ultimately died, where a family lost a son. So I've got to make sure that no stone is unturned. And I've got to get this conviction for this family. I owe it to these people.
Phil needs to show Amar is lying and the young victim was sitting in the back seat. So he starts with the one solid bit of evidence, the car. From top to bottom, he searches for any missing clues.
There's loads of little bits of evidence in cars, and one of those other pieces of evidence is a seatbelt.
Phil has to prove the driver was wearing a seatbelt, meaning he couldn't have been thrown out of the back window. He calls in vehicle safety expert Mike Brown, but the evidence isn't on his side.
When Mike comes to that car and tells me driver's not wearing a seatbelt, you could imagine I was absolutely devastated. To be told the guy wasn't wearing his seatbelt, you know, it just takes your legs from underneath you and you just think, God, I've done the wrong thing here.
If no one was wearing a seatbelt, Phil's back to square one, and he can't prove Amar was the driver. But he's determined not to give up that easily.
While I'm at the garage, I'm looking at this car, I'm looking to see if there's any further evidence. And one of the things I do find in the back of this car are 3 pairs of shoes, and one of those pairs was a scruffy pair of trainers, something similar to this, and we want to know why they're in the boot of the car.
Phil takes the shoes to the young man's family to see if they can help shed any light.
And straight away, without hesitation, the deceased's sister looks at the scruffy trainers and says, those are his driving shoes. My brother would never drive in his boots, his Armani boots, his prized possession.
It's a significant breakthrough. The deceased man took pride in his appearance and used old trainers for driving, but they're in the boot of the car.
And we know for a fact that his Armani boots were on him at the time of the accident. From that, we can only conclude that he ain't going to be driving that car, and it's that further bit of evidence, another bit of that jigsaw that we were totally unaware of.
With only a few weeks to go before the trial, there's still not enough concrete evidence to prove Umar was the driver. Phil's only hope is the first witness at the scene after the accident.
There's still something eluded us. This truck driver, where's his details? Who was it? So 2 weeks before the case, we're still wanting to find this evidence, and we've still not got it. We know we need to get these details of this truck driver. His evidence could be vital in all of this.
Phil desperately needs to find the truck driver, the first witness on the scene, who can tell him exactly who was sitting in the driving seat. So he does some good old-fashioned detective work.
We create the poster explaining the brief details of the accident. We stick accident boards out again. We did a press release asking for potential witness to come forward. We really need to find this guy, and we're getting dangerously close from this trial date.
It's not looking good for Phil. But at the last minute, he gets a call from the local patrol officer who was at the scene of the crime.
The 11th hour, this golden moment comes where I get this phone call off this officer. I found it. I found the guy's details. He's been to court for another job. And while he's giving his evidence in this other incident, he's been going through his pocketbook. And all of a sudden, there is a name, a registration number, address, and a phone number that doesn't relate to the job that he's writing about. And he puts 2 and 2 together, and in the confusion of the night, he hadn't written it on a piece of paper. He'd actually written it in his pocketbook. But we'd never thought of looking it there because he was adamant it was on a piece of paper and he'd handed it somewhere.
It's the moment Phil's been dreaming about. The pocketbook holds the missing details of the lost truck driver.
Can you imagine? It completely is a game changer. Got the moment of proof, the thing that we've been looking for, the thing that could completely turn this case around and prove what we've been saying all along.
The truck driver is the key to Phil's whole case. He doesn't waste a single moment and gives him a call.
That night I go round and I take the statement off him because I'm not leaving anything to chance now. I ask him the questions and the reply to that was yes. Amar Singh was the driver of this car at the time, and we can rule out beyond doubt this guy was in that driver's seat when this accident happened.
The truck driver confirms Amar told him he was the driver at the time of the accident. After 2 years of denying the facts, Amar's found guilty of dangerous driving and receives over 3 years in jail. Phil's search for the truth has paid off.
The foreman stood up and we got that guilty plea. We were over the moon. All that work had come together, so we were absolutely elated with this fantastic news. We'd got this conviction. This is about the justice, and we got that justice for that family.
Over in East London, Detective Superintendent Jason Hendy is on a mission to prove Les Shepherd is guilty of robbing a security van of £450,000. Les is part of a larger criminal gang working across the capital, and the detective's got his work cut out to stop them.
We were looking at over £6 million that we believed they'd stolen from security companies.
The gang's operating method is to place fake guards into security companies But to catch them, Jason's going to need a full-scale team.
We then set up Operation McCade. These are experienced criminals, and now we're going to have to use every covert tactic available to us to bring them to justice.
Jason tracks the gang members' every move.
Our life was getting up with them in the morning, going to bed. When they went to bed, we got to know so much about this criminal group, about how they worked, how they recruited people, and how they stole millions of pounds. So we're putting the pieces of the jigsaw together, but I've not got that piece in the middle that I need to know I'm going to get convictions. I've got good circumstantial evidence against all of these, but that's it. What I need to do is actually catch them red-handed doing a robbery.
It's not long before Jason's wishes come true. One of the gang members, Ricky Watts, goes to a superstore in a security guard's uniform and enters the building.
He then comes out after about 10 minutes and goes home. CCTV showed that the manager had shown him how the safes work and how the ATMs are emptied. So now we knew this was going to be the next location they were going to rob. So this album just shows Sean Doherty and Ricky Watts doing reconnaissance, and they would do that at least once every week, going to that car park. We were not quite sure what their plan was. All we knew was this was the location.
Finally, Jason's got a lead. He suspects the gang are planning a larger job, a robbery in the superstore.
It's a bit of a eureka moment. You're one step ahead. We're not playing catch-up anymore. We know you're going to go to the superstore and rob it, so we're going to be there waiting for you.
In this game of cat and mouse, Jason and his team set a trap and wait.
They wait till the store closes. They break themselves in. Ricky Watts and Sean Doherty steal £850,000 out of the safes. And the beauty of it was we saw them load all that money into the boot of their car. And we let them drive about 150 metres. But unfortunately for them, we put an enforced stop on them and they were all arrested. In this picture here, the whole boot is full of bags full of money. And when it's laid out onto the pavement like that, you can quite clearly see what a substantial amount of money that is. And then we seized all the money, arrested everybody. It was a great day. It was a really great day for everybody.
Jason might have caught Ricky Watts and Sean Doherty in the act, but there's no sign of his old nemesis.
The only disappointment was Leslie Shepherd was not on that robbery. And for me, I still had Les Shepherd to deal with, and that was really important that we brought everybody to justice.
Once the others are firmly behind bars, Jason rushes to Les's house to arrest him too, before the gang can tip him off.
We knocked on Les Shepherd's door one morning and arrested him for conspiracy to steal. I said to him, Les, I think you're going to need your lucky pants on today because we're going to be needed to speak to you about that robbery. We handcuffed him and took him to the police station. So although the whole of the organised crime group were now sitting in prison cells, the one thing that nagged me was, did I have enough evidence against Les Shepherd? If I was honest, I didn't think we had enough. We needed to find more evidence to make sure we secured the conviction.
With Les in custody, Jason sets about searching his house for any possible clue.
A lot was riding on this second search. We needed to find that golden nugget. We had a full search team with us. 20 officers were in that address, searching high and low, every nook and cranny, hoping that we were going to find something that's going to link him to the robbery at the riding school.
The team search high and low, but it's not looking good. Suddenly, there's a shout.
Whilst I was searching upstairs, I had a call to come downstairs. My heart was beating, thinking, is this the moment? I walked down, and there was a cupboard, and you could quite clearly see a false wall with wallpaper had been painted over it.
Jason's last hope is that the secret wall holds the answer.
You can quite clearly see that he's cut a false plasterboard into the wall and laid fresh wallpaper over the top of it. When that false bit of plasterboard came down, I could see the big lump of money sitting behind the skirting board, vacuum sealed, ready there.
But the only way Jason can prove the money is from the riding stable's robbery is to match the serial numbers. And after a tense wait, it's jackpot.
And there you can see £20,000 cash with a unique number on the top of there. That was the moment that I knew we got it. The serial number that's written on the bag tells me that money was on his van, which was robbed. It was my moment of proof.
After 2 years of cops and robbers, Jason can nail the criminal to the crime.
In total, we seized £22,000 cash from that address. I had my lucky pants on that day, and not Les.
The gang are sent down, and with the evidence stacked against him, Les Shepherd pleads guilty. He gets 4.5 years for his part in the crime.
To see them all being sent to prison for a substantial amount of time and we made London a safer place was really satisfying, but I think the most satisfying thing of all of it was these group of criminals thought they were untouchable, and we caught them and we brought them to justice.
But the story doesn't end there.
About 5 or 6 years later, I was in a pub across the bar. I could see Les Shepherd standing there, and then he started walking towards me, and he brought a pint of beer over to me, handed me my pint of beer and said, "You did a good job. I've changed my life. What you did was taught me a lesson that crime doesn't pay. I'm now with a new girlfriend," and he shook my hand and walked away. And that was a nice way to finish it all off.